Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Indianapolis Motor Speedway for Season 2 2025 of the Output Racing League. And we're here for the Nothing But a Winner 175. And it should be a fantastic way to introduce the new Gen 4 cars to our league here. Couple cars on track. There's Matt Horton, Travis Massia on track. There's Andrew Chapman going through the pit lane here. It's like most people getting ready for a pit party of sorts. Everyone's slowly making their way out onto the track. Sam Niederhelm in the 66, making a return to racing here in the Output Racing League. There's the 16 of Kyle McCoy also making his return. Mitch Pope in the 6 car, he's brand new to the league. As Travis Massia going around them, spinning out there in turn 1. No, that's turn 2, my apologies. Two cars at the moment signed up for racing action. 33.20 strength of field. 2 cars yet to set lap times. That's a 9 of Slammer and the 39 of Watson. Everyone just getting into formation, coming out of the pits. Ryan Pizzakemi in the 78 car. League founder Jaron Sanchez in the output car there at the front. I guess that's in the middle. We also had the return of the most dominant competitor in output history, the 17 of Christian Budd. Looks like he wants to drop to the back. 77 is another new car. That's Avery McDonald. Had a 23 car as well. Andrew Chapman making his debut. And it looks like we're ready for the start of the pit party here. 88 Jonathan Hernandez on the front row with Kyle McCoy. Massia and McDonald on the second row. And they're racing. We're hearing a lot of very tight corners, especially in the middle of the corner, and loose upon exit. So let's see how these drivers tackle the tight but loose, and it's not going to go well. There's already a big prank right in the front of the field. That is McCoy who's gotten caught out there. Car parts scattered everywhere. Took out the majority of the pit party. Oh, and there's another Frank here on the front straight. People trying to power their way through it. Jonas just net-coated his way through it. Look at the series of flips that Brian Pizzakemi is going through. I think he damn near flipped like 15 times just then. That was crazy. We should get them all to re-rack, re-stack and go again for another pit party here, since they barely got a couple laps in. In fact, no, it didn't even, they just barely got one whole lap in. Can't believe Jonas netcoding through it all and sending Pizzacami for those series of flips. As the cars make their way onto the back straight once more. No one wants to lead the thing, apparently. There's, I think that was Chapman going down to the very inside there. Does he have the right paint on? No, he's got a Indianapolis paint. Everyone wants to be in the outside line, apparently. Clayton Ward going to be sitting on the pole, maybe? No. Well, looks like we're going to start getting a second lane in here. This is a very loud camera angle. Wow. There's James Watson in the 39, back to his usual yellow, pink and green car. All right, here we go. Pit party attempt number 2. Thomas Harmon on the pole. And they're off. Looking at Christian Budd in the 17. He's currently our top time setter with a 53.100. And he's easily the one to be the favourite for this entire season and every single individual race. As around goes Travis Masia. He took out Ken Campbell with him. Oh, a couple cars in the back. Travis Masia. See who else was in it. Looks like Jonas caught a piece of it, maybe Mark Pentecoff too. Front of the field still going strong this time, although, up into the vents as well. The Chapeau. And it's chaos on the front straight. A couple of cars crashed into the pit lane. A couple of cars crashed on the front straight. Absolute pandemonium. We do still have quite a few cars on the track. There's Thomas Harmon getting drafted by Brian Pizzacami. So both trying to chase down Andrew Chapman. downloaded the right paints for everyone. As Harmon goes underneath Chapman, Fizikami's going to try and follow in. Lots of very loud camera angles around this track. 21 Ted Baylor has come a cropper. It's in the short chute after turn 3. Time is winding down. There's under 3 minutes left in practice. There's Bud, McAnally, Fizikami, Hernandez, Harmon, Horton, Kane, Rickett, Slama, Lasker, Ward, Champo, Campbell, McDonald, McCoy, Baylor, Sanchez, Chapman, Marquez, Watson, Pentacup, Niederhelm, Collins and Banks, who have yet to set a lap. That is your 24 as it stands right now. 34.02 strength of field. You're lucky I'm not driving because I bring that average down. The average probably would have been a little bit higher too. But Brian Fizikami has absolutely tanked his I rating the last couple of days. Didn't do it intentionally, he just gets unlucky. We're going to get ready to go to a commercial break here so these guys can get to qualifying. So make sure you guys stay tuned, because when we come back we'll see how our grid is going to be set up here for race number 1, season 2 2025 here in the Output Racing League. So make sure you guys stay tuned. Racing action will be coming up very shortly. Alrighty, as you can see, qualifying is now complete. 25 cars as Andrew Griesbaum signed up for the race and connected a minute into qualifying. And once we get it up on the pole, to absolutely no one's surprise, the 17 of Christian Budd. P2 is going to be the 35 of Joshua Banks. P3 will be the 9 of Joe Slammer. P4, the 15 of Ken Campbell. P5, we're going to see the 05 of Scott Rickard with P6, the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. P7 will have the 12 of Chris Champeau with P8, the 38 of Thomas Harmon. P9 is going to be the 16 of Kyle McCoy with P10, the 13 of Travis Massier. P11 is going to be Andrew Chapman in the 2311 with James Watson in P12 in the 39 car. Andrew Griesbaum in the 68 Nesquik car will be out of 13th. Mark Pentacuff, the American flag, out of 14th. Logan McAnally in the 1 will be out of 15th, with Austin Collins out of P16. P17 is going to be the 89 of Matt Horton, with P18, the 4 league founder, Jaron Sanchez. P19 is going to be the 21 of Thad Failer, with P20, the 44 of Clayton Ward. P21 will be the 77 of Avery McDonald, with Mitch Pape in the 6 car out of P22. 23rd position, the return of the 66 Sam Niederhelm, with Brian Pizzakemi on his outside in 24th in the 78 car. And last but not least, Jonas Marquez in the 00 will be out of the 25th position. 70 laps for these guys to tackle here tonight at this man-made hell known as the Indianapolis Motor Speedway, as we're getting ready to get it on. Just one car left to grid. Here we go for the pace lap. So these are longer races than what we've seen in previous seasons, and that is in the hope to try and get 2 pit stops out of everyone. Normally our races are long enough for 1-stop race. This time we're trying to get 2, and it looks like Austin Collins failing to make the call for the grid, and he is going to start from the pits. That's going to move everyone behind him in the outside lane upper row. So that means Sam Niederhelm and Jonas Marquez will be by themselves on the back on the inside lane. Getting ready to get started here for the Brickyard. The Nothing But a Winner 175 at the Brickyard. The pace car is going to make that hard left turn into pit lane for the first time here, Season 2, 2025, with the brand new Gen 4 cars. The first start is on green. All the restarts are on the leader inside of the restart zone. And we are off and racing for the first time here in Season 2, 2025. Christian Budd will take the early advantage into turn 1. Through the short chute into turn number 2. And he definitely has a lot of the lead in the race right now, as all these camera angles are all very loud. We're going to be very hard pressed to try and find quieter camera angles, but I think I might have just found them. We'll wait and see whether these ones are quieter. As I go snaking down this famous front straight to finish off lap number 1. Christian Budd will lead the first lap of the new season as they cross the yard of bricks. See a move potentially being made there for P3. And it was the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez who was trying to go for the move but backed out of it. That was on the 9 of Joe Slama. Here comes the 38 Thomas Harmon. He thinks better of it. Now Jonathan Hernandez goes for the move. That was actually the 15 of Ken Campbell who was trying to go for the move earlier. But Hernandez will get around Scott Rickard in the 05 car. That's a Kevin Harvick tribute car by the looks of things. And that one, I do believe, was Kevin Harvick's tribute to Dale Sr. Side by side, those who are going to continue coming out of turn 2. And it looks like Hernandez is going to hold the advantage. In fact, Thomas Harmon there taking the advantage as well. Scott Rickard caught without draft. And he is dropping like a stone in this front group. Now Christian Poe is the one without the advantage, being stuck on the outside of the track. And it looks like he is going to get overtaken by Kyle McCoy. Sam Niederhelm is already out of the race by the looks of things. And only just so. Let's see if we can ascertain what's happened to the 66 car here. Oh, I see. His internet boogered itself up. That's exactly what happened. Go back to focusing anywhere and everywhere. Get back to the racing action. That's a shame for Sam Niederhelm too. He was so excited for this season. He was excited to get back into racing with us, as Joshua Banks and Christian Budd still snaking their way down the main straight. More moves attempted to be made in the middle. Scott Rickard once more looking for an overtake on Thomas Harmon. Not going to get there. Now let's see who some of our big movers are so far, if we've got any. Matt Horton from 17th to 14th. Got Thad Baylor from 19th to 15th. Ryan Fitzgerald 24th to 17th. Mitch Pape and Avery McDonald 22nd and 21st respectively to 18th and 19th. Logan McAnally, one of the big losers so far, 21st to 15th. Sorry, 15th to 21st. Darren Sanchez also similarly down 18th to 23rd. And look at the gap our top two have. There's almost nothing between them. They're drafting like absolute best buddies. They have a second and a half. over P2 Joe Slama. So it's going to be the Buds and Banks show, as I just saw, I think that was McCoy, tapping the wall in the short chute there between turns 1 and 2. Austin Collins still 5 seconds off the back of the pack, but he is closing that gap. Logan McCannley with the fastest lap last time round. Joshua Banks with the fast lap in the race at 53.030. Just a little bit over a tenth faster than Christian Budd's fastest lap. And that is the power of the draft. Oh, just saw the front bumper fly off the 16 car, and it's come back to him. Travis Massier just behind him, making the move for P10, moving up from 11th. Alright, so we're all ready now. 10 laps into this 70-lap race. And the order hasn't changed too terribly much. Ryan Piskemi is up 10 from where he started into 14th. And he is definitely on the charge. A little bit of smoke here. On the back straight coming out of turn 2. Oh, the 35. Banks. He must have bank shotted it off the wall. Let's back this up. See if we can see what happened here. There's no caution brought out for it. Coming out of turn 2, you can see Christian Budd drifting the car through the corner. Oh, yeah, Banks just straightened up that little bit too early and just ricocheted big time into the fence. Almost spun the model out. Went for another big whack into the fence. And that sent him back to 23rd position. He is in the pits getting repairs done on that model. Now we look at the 38. It's Thomas Harmon. He is stuck in the middle of this furious battle for now P2. It's a 6-car battle here for P2. There's almost 2 seconds between Budd and Campbell, who is leading this pack. Oh, as Scott Rickard just got turned a little bit. He's still sliding, still sliding. Just got a little bit of a tap there from Chris Champeau in the 12. And how did he save that? How did he not spin it out? Now it's a 4-car battle for P2. As Kyle McCoy gets around Rickard. So Rickard now down to the 8th position. looks like we're going to stay on record for the moment. Hernandez in P4 there. Pulled out of line briefly. Pulled back into it just before the corner. There's another 6-car pack. Logan McAnally in this one. So this is Horton to Baylor now, as McAnally's gotten around him. Baylor looked like he might have gotten loose coming out of turn 2. And Banks is out. He's pulled the pin. He said, doesn't look like you guys are wrecking anytime soon. And I will admit, it actually has been pretty tame compared to the pit parties. The way the pit parties were going, I was expecting just a little bit more drama as Ryan Fizikami looking to the inside of Matt Horton. That is the battle for 11th. Horton will have the advantage on the straight here because of the draft from the cars in front. But Fizikami will have the advantage in the corners, and he held on long enough on the straight to take advantage of that. A little bit of a slide coming out of the corner as well. Just checked up this group ever so slightly. The 2311 car also getting a little bit of a slide on. That's left him vulnerable to everyone in the back here. McAnally and Griesbaum looking to take advantage. Of course, you say, Corey, that's the 11, but it's not because he's registered as the 23, which is why he's a 2311. Because he's supposed to be the 23, he's got the 11 on the car. Let's go check in on our leader now real quick. 17 to Christian Budd, who has over 2.5 seconds to the cars behind him now. And he is just absolutely flying. He's setting fastest laps of the lap consistently. And it looks like now it's a 3-car battle for P2 with Campbell, Slama and Hernandez, as Harmon has dropped off the back of it. Go back to focusing anywhere and everywhere. And there is Fizikami. It looks like he is pulling McAnally along. And he's almost caught up to Masia and Watson. But Fizikami about to crack the top 10 here. This is the kind of racing that Fizikami thrives on. No caution, just look after your stuff and hope you got something better than everyone else towards the end of the run. Speaking of, we're looking at about 30-31 laps for a full tank of fuel. So we could be seeing people starting to experiment a little bit here. Probably around lap 20 to 25 we'll see cars starting to come in. So what we're going to do is we're actually going to go for a commercial break right now. And when we come back, we will have some more racing action for you. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the Nothing But a Winner 175. And both McAnally and Pisacani did get around Travis Massia. Travis made a little bit of a mistake, but Pisacani has also been overtaken by McAnally now as they chase down the rest of the top 10. Oh, was very loose there was Chris Champeau. 3 wide down the main straight they're going to go. That's Rickard, Champeau and James Watson up the middle. Champeau was the one that got out of it, but he immediately bombed it back down the inside, over, under, on the both of them. As Austin Collins has come into the pits. I'm not sure if this is his scheduled stop or not, but the battle still heating up. There's still 3 wide. Back down to 2. Some hard, intense battling here for the back of the top 10. Without any exaggeration, this is a 5-car battle for P7. Almost a 6-car battle, as Travis Massia is almost back into it. Chris Champeau vanished to the outside lane for the corners, as McAnally got around him and Pisacani looking to take advantage. Two Martin Truex Jr. cars looking to fly their way through this field. As McAnally gets around Rickard, Pisacani hasn't been able to take advantage of being to the inside of Chris Champeau. It looks like he's just going to fall into position there in P11. Although Scott Rickard makes another mistake coming out of turn 4. Andrew Griesbaum has come into the pits. I saw Austin Collins pit earlier. Griesbaum with a big lock up at the entry to pit lane there. Rickard now, the one afflicted with outside lineitis. Pisacani, much more superior speed over Scott Rickard there. In fact, Rickard slowing down just an extra little bit, trying to dive down to the inside behind Travis Massia, and he caught it a little bit wrong. As As it looks like Griesbaum's starting to come out of the pit lane now. He will go a lap down. As the battle's still heating up. McAnally looking to take over the 7th position from Watson. At the same time, Pisakemi getting around Chris Champeau. I said these Martin Truex Jr. cars definitely going to be ones to watch with McAnally and Pisakemi. Christian Budd out the front. He is going to be hard to beat each and every single week. He has 3.5 seconds to Ken Campbell in P2. To begin with, it was because he had the draft help from Joshua Banks. Now, it is all just pure skill on Christian Budd's part. As we've got a couple of cars going into the pits now. Kyle McCoy, Scott Rickard. Got another one going in there. I think that's the 6 of Pape going into the pits as well. Clayton Ward's going to join them. Possibly Jaron Sanchez here too. Wait and see. But Sanchez is going to stay out. Sanchez is probably hoping for a caution. That would be my best guess anyway. It looks like Thomas Harmon's going to come into the pits. He's not the only one. Travis Mascia is going to join him. Campbell now lacking in the help department, though he is surrounded by lap cars. So that could help him a little bit with their extra speed. Dan Sanchez comes into the pits this time. So too does the 77 of McDonald. Andrew Griesbaum with his superior tyre health. Getting around a 9 of Joe Slama like he was standing still as Ken Campbell and Jonathan Hernandez both come into the pits. Looks like the 39 James Watson's going to come in too. And here also goes Matt Horton in the 89. Thad Failer, another one to dive into the pit lane. Not many cars left to pit, but Christian Budd is one of them. Jonas Marquez has pitted. Kyle McCoy is back on the lead lap. He's driven around Christian Budd. And Christian Budd's going to come in this time. Slama, McAnally, Pisakemi, they've all come into the pit at the same time. Campbell and Hernandez have come out in front of McCoy. Everyone but Champeau and Chapman have come into the pits. So Champeau currently leading the race. And he does have bonus points now for leading a lap. 74 of Austin Collins gets to his inside. Collins just getting himself back onto the lead lap. He's in the 18th position. And it looks like Bud is just going to hold on to the lead. As Champeau now comes into the pits. I think Chapman is going to join him, maybe, possibly. No, Chapman's going to stay out. He's going to lead a lap. There's another bonus point being handed out. McAnally trying to get around the outside of Baylor. This is in 3 and 4, and he's going to do so. Pizzacami must have had a slow stop. He's dropped to 14th. We had one person with a 13-second stop. That was Scott Rickard with a 13.9. The only person. Sorry, Darren Sanchez also with a 13.9. That's in the box. Sanchez is still a lap down, although once Chapman pulls into the pits, then Sanchez will be back on the lead lap. Don't think Thad Faylor will be, though. He had 54 seconds in his pit box. But Chapman will have to pit this time, I do believe. I don't think he can squeeze out the extra lap unless he's been saving his fuel. And he is going to try and squeeze out another lap. Chapman, I think, is going to try and one-stop it. McAnally working over the back of Thomas Harmon. McAnally with 2 lap fresher tyres than Harmon. Although just in front of them is a roadblock. That's Hernandez and Summers. There was a little bit of contact going into turn 1. Sama trying to open up the entry to the corner as much as he could. Hernandez getting the fence. Hernandez was a little bit defensive there, as he's going to try and catch back up to Slama. Chapman pits this time. He's not going to be able to one-stop it. There's no way he's going to save 39 laps of fuel in this run, because he'd have to save at least 8. I just don't think that's possible. So 23.11 is going to fall right down the order here. Staying out on those old tyres for so long. Austin Collins, it says that he's out. See if we can see anything unfolding to the 74 car here. He's in a decent position. He's not experimenting with any alternate dimensions. He's still on track, he just disappears. That's a strange one. The Baylor will get at least one freebie out of this. Christian Budd still with his 3.5 second gap over Ken Campbell in P2. Got a couple of battles on track as Pizzacami gets around Watson. And that was Champeau getting around Griesbaum as well that we were watching. The focus is currently on Travis Massia in the 13 car. Steve Watson trying to draft with Pizzacami at the same time, trying to look after his temperatures, making sure he doesn't overheat while he's right up on the tail of the Pizzacami car as the 13 of Massey are very loose through turn 1. Got a little bit of the tail happy going on as Champeau steps out of line to try and make the overtake. And he will take over that position in turn 3. Masio looks like he's definitely struggling with loose right now. 22 cars left in the race, 21 on the lead lap. Chris Champeau was the fastest last time around. Looks like Logan McAnally will have the fast lap for this one just gone. McAnally up into the 5th position, but he is not eligible for the hard charger, or in fact he's up into 4th now. So he's just gotten around a 9 of Slama. Now he has a bit of work to do to try and catch up to Hernandez. As we reach the halfway point, 35 down, 35 to go. Four seconds is the gap, Bud to Campbell now. See the 39, James Watson, just trying to do everything he can to hold off for Chris Champeau here. Chris Champeau is actually on a bit of a tear, showing a lot of pace. He's got fresher tyres than everyone in front of him. 2 laps fresher than Watson, 1 lap fresher than Pizzacami, 4 laps fresher than Rickard and McCoy. McAnally continuing to pump out fast laps right now. He's trying to do better than the pace of Christian Budd, which he did do so by just under 4/10 last time around. Champeau's going to go for the move on Watson, and he'll make that move stick very quickly into turn 1. Ooh, Pizzacami with a little bit of slide going through turn 3. The life of his back tyres starting to crumble at his feet. As we start lap 39. And we're almost getting into that window of pit stops once more. So we're going to go to another quick commercial break now. When we come back, we'll have the second round of pit stops, and then we'll be going all the way through to the checkered flag. So make sure you guys stay tuned. More racing action from the Nothing But a Winner 175 will be coming up very shortly. welcome back to the Nothing But a Winner 175 here from the Indianapolis Motor Speedway on the Aussie Sim Commentator channel for the Output Racing League. We are riding on board with race leader Christian Budd as he is chasing down the 4 of Jaron Sanchez. I was just listening to the throttle control that Christian Budd has, and it's just absolutely incredible. So once he comes out of turn 4, I'm going to shut up for a lap, and we're just all going to listen to it here together. As oh, look at the slide that he just caught going through turn 3. And it may look wild to us, but you know, this is very controlled driving. So here we go. And there you go, that is a lap with Christian Budd. Just the absolute master of throttle control in these cars. You saw Jaron Sanchez there weaving on the straight, trying to break the draft to the leader. But ultimately, still succumbing to the power that is the 17 car. Everyone having flashbacks to a couple of years ago. Ran the old Gen 4 car. In fact, when we run anything with Christian Budd, because Christian Budd's just that damn good. We're looking at the 05 of Scott Rickard, under pressure from Pizzakemi, but also at the same time chasing down Kyle McCoy. There's a big slide out of turn 4 for Rickard. Pizzakemi right on his tail. Rickard going all the way down to the wall. Not wanting to get the draft to Pizzakemi. In fact, allowing Pizzakemi to get enough draft to pass him completely before turn 1. Very smart driving there for Rickard. As behind them side by side, the 39 James Watson and the 12 of Chris Champeau, and there was almost contact going into turn 2. This is a very furious battle, and it's one that could end in tears. It could shake up the way this race is, although that time looks like James Watson lifting early into turn 3 to allow Chris Champeau through. I thought that was going to be a very furious battle for the 10th position. So James Watson is still right there and poised, ready to strike. He's pulled to the inside now. No, he thought better of it. Backed out of it. A little bit deep into the corner was the 12 of Chris Champeau. He managed to pull it off though. They're both catching up to Kyle McCoy, so I'm assuming McCoy has had some kind of a drama while Pizzakemi and Rickard were catching up to him. And he has fallen off the pace big time as McDonald in the 77 has come in for his second stop. Travis Marcio just giving a thanks there to Thad Baylor for letting him through. Oh, James Watson with a big slide. Masia into the fence. Second round of green flag stops. Should be on in earnest here very shortly. Now, you don't necessarily want to be the first one to make the last stop in this round of stops, but you definitely don't want to wait too long. I think McDonald was trying to think of the opposite to what he did in the first run. Watson looked like he bounced off the wall there in the short shoot between 1 and 2. As now Christian Poe is going to go for the move on McCoy. Very loose though, he's not going to get the run. Where they jagged himself out of line on the straightaway, I thought he had the move on. Now he does. As McCoy is struggling with grip going into 3. Almost contact into 4. And McCoy is going to succumb to the power of both Champeau and Watson. And their little battle will continue. There's a 78 Brian Pizzakemi that we saw briefly. He's in P7, all on his lonesome as he's pulled away from Scott Rickard. We briefly saw the battle for third. Logan McAnally looks like he's having issues. Don't tell me he's going to be another one gobbled up by the internet demons of the other realms. Looks like that might be the case though, as into the pits comes Scott Rickard for his second and final stop. Let's see if we can see anything happen to the one car of McAnally, or whether he just disappears into the ether. Poof, gone like a fart in a fan factory, and that's exactly what's happened. Just poof, gone like a fart in a fan factory. So we're still watching this battle between the 39 and the 12. Ken Campbell has come into the pits. Joe Slama is in the pits as well. 20 laps to go at the end of this lap. So they have to go 21 on this run. Travis Massier is in. I don't think it really matters when Christian Budd pits at this point, because of the lead that he's amassed over everyone else. And now James Watson gets a good run. Chris Champeau down to the inside of the track to allow him through. If we have any takers for the pits this time. It looks like Harmon is going to come into the pits, so too is the 12 of Champeau. Champeau is going to have that little bit of an undercut on James Watson. But James will have to come in this time to cover that off. Griesbaum is into the pits. Campbell's actually come out in front of Christian Budd. We're now looking at the battle between the 2311 and the 44 car. These guys battling over a fictitious P7. I only say fictitious P7 because of the round of pit stops going on. Jonathan Hernandez is in from P2. Brian Pizzicami is going to be in from P3. McCoy is going to come in from P5. Sanchez is pitted. Ward is in. Is Harmon and Rickard. And they are battling for position. They're currently a lap down in 13th and 14th. Bud is in. To leave James Watson in control of this race. Once he gets around Christian Bud. Although Watson has come into the pits as well. Horton is in. There's Jaron Sanchez. Looks like Chapman's going to come into the pits this time. Possibly. Maybe not. He's not going to. He's going to stay out. So too is Pentacuff as Marquez has come in. Pentacuff will maintain position. Bud will maintain position in front of Pentacuff. See if Chapman comes in this time. And Watson actually lost out on position to Travis Massia in the pit stop cycle. As Marquez has come in. There's just two left to take their second stop here. That's Chapman and Pentacuff. As Pentacuff has come in this time. Which means Chapman, the only one left to pit. Pretty sure he just wanted to get another lap led. Either that or he's going to try and hope for a caution. As Pizzicami looking to make the move on the four of Sanchez. He's going to do so very quickly. The 23 at 11 will get overtaken here by Christian Bud. Pizzicami in P8, all on his lonesome. It'll be P7 once Chapman pits. And it looks like Pentacuff is still in the pits. He's just come out now. And it looks like he will go a lap down. As he is on the exit road here. But he's right in front of the leader. A lot of smoke here on the front straight. Pretty sure that's just when the pit stops. It's a shame that Watson is so far back from Champo because they were having such an epic battle before this pit stop cycle. And laps are winding down very quickly here. We're on 56 of 70, which means at the end of this lap there's only 14 to go. As McCoy on the back of Watson. Hopefully they can work together here a little bit, maybe close the gap. into Travis Massier and then into Chris Champeau. Massier catches up to Sanchez. He's going to make the overtake right down to the bottom of the track. Sanchez made that one easy, but that also made Massier lose out on a lot of time as Sanchez puts it in the wall on the back straight. Just trying to stay out of the way of the lead lap cars there. It looks like Massier might miss out on a top 10 as Watson is hunting. It's a 6.25 second lead. Christian Budd over Ken Campbell now after that set of stops. And he has just consistently been putting out fastest lap times for the lap. That gap is only getting bigger each and every single circulation. Jonas Marquez is about to go a lap down as well, as a 39er James Watson will get around the inside of Travis Massier here going into turn 3. Oh, and there's contact with McCoy. They both saved it. Almost more contact in the short shoot there between 3 and 4. Laps are winding down. Christian Budd on the front straight, so there's just 11 laps left in this race. As McCoy peeked to the inside there very briefly on the 13 of Massier. Massier goes very deep into the corner, pushes out wide, and McCoy will now take advantage and take over the 11th position. Looks like Massier wants to try and fight back. This could end up being a very good battle here for the 11th position. I think this is the closest thing we have to a battle on the track right now. Everyone else is just kind of strung out since we've had no cautions. 10 to go now. McCoy just caught the fence there a little bit, the short strip between 1 and 2. Now it looks like we go back to a battle between Slama and the 2311 of Chapman. Chapman struggling hard. He still hasn't made his second stop yet. He's got 30 laps on those tires and it shows. Thomas Harmon looking to take advantage of Chapman and his slow tyres right now. In fact, Chapman all the way down to the inside of the track. He doesn't want to get in the way. He's just trying to get the best possible result he can right now. And now Chapman comes in for his second stop. And he will probably be pretty close to going a lap down here. As there's just 7 laps left in this race now. Good job to Chapman for trying. As I said, I didn't think he was going to be able to save the necessary amount of laps to make this a one-stop race. And even if he did, he wouldn't have been very competitive doing it. So he lets the 15 and the 88 go. This is the battle for P2. There is Andrew Griesbaum. He's starting to catch up to the back of the Forest Sanchez. Griesbaum in the 12th position. Sanchez down in the 20th. But behind Griesbaum is the 89 of Matt Horton, in what I would like to call an abomination of a throwback car. Sanchez gets right out of the way. This is the battle that's on for P2. Hernandez pulling out of the draft, going for the move in turn 3. Wiggling his way into the corner. Campbell got a little bit loose. He's a little bit lower on exit than what Hernandez was expecting. Five laps to go for these two. The 23.11 of Chapman right in behind. He's watching this battle. I don't think he wants to get involved. These guys are almost 10 seconds back from Christian Budd. But when I said earlier that Christian Budd was the favorite, not just for the championship, but for every single race, this is what I mean. I wasn't kidding. As Hernandez is going to try and go for the move now, coming out of turn 4. He has pulled door to door with Ken Campbell. He got the side draft. And now he'll come up to try and help his corner. Campbell pushing as hard as he can on the outside line here. No contact. They go through turn 2 still side by side. And they are even. There's no gain, no loss for either car there. Through turns 3 they go, still side by side. Hernandez just with a slight advantage. And Campbell ran a little bit wide in turn 4. That's allowed Hernandez through. Hernandez immediately trying to break the toe. Hernandez is going to try and skip away with his second position. Now almost 10.5 seconds behind Christian Budd. It's almost the entirety of the back straight. There's now a lap and a half to go for Christian Budd. Let's go have a look at how he's going. He's caught up to another couple of lap cars. There's Avery McDonald ahead of him, and then Clayton Ward in front of Avery. They come out of turn 4. Going to be a white flag, last lap, last chance to win it or wear it. And just because these are lap cars doesn't mean something won't go horrifically wrong in front of Christian Budd. This season in Winstall, he has had nothing but drama getting involved in other people's accidents. So it is still very possible that he could lose this race. Comes down the back straight, getting around Avery. Now it's just Clayton in front of him. Navigates turn 3 with ease. Into turn number 4. And your winner for season 2, 2025, race number 1. The nothing but a winner. The 17 of Christian Budd. We go all the way back to Jonathan Hernandez now, and he will take out P2 over Ken Campbell. And it looks like Joe Slama is going to come home in P3 with Harmon and Pizzacami battling over P5. But well done to the 17, Christian Budd. We knew he could do it. We knew he was going to be the dominant force in this race. And now, after the race, he starts experimenting with some alternate dimensions. How about that? But here we go. Here's the final results. It's Budd, Hernandez, Campbell, Slama, Harmon, Pizzacami, Rickard, Champeau, Watson, and McCoy as your top 10. Now we have Massier, Horton, Griesbaum, Pape, Ward, McDonald, Marquez, Pentacuff, Chapman, and Baylor. And Sanchez, and then unfortunately McCannley, Collins, Banks, and Niederhelm all OUT out of this race. Big old burnout here for Christian Budd down the main straight. He's very happy. He'll get out and kiss the bricks here shortly after he does a massive skid over him. We're going to go to commercial break, and when we come back we will have driver interviews, so make sure you guys stay tuned. Driver interviews coming up very shortly. All right, it is time now for driver interviews. Normally, we kick things off with the Hard Charger Award, but tonight we're going to kick things off with our third place getter. And our third place getter, of course, he's on screen. It's the 15 of Ken Campbell. Ken, great result for you here to kick off season 2 2025 with a P3 at the world famous Indianapolis Motor Speedway.
Yeah, really pumped about finishing position there. Got some stage points as well. Usually we start at super speedways, and so we changed that up. So it was a little bit less risk, I would say, less of a gamble. And I usually run pretty well here. And then qualifying was like, okay, I've got this. And then I was just trying to save tires that first run. And Christian and Josh were just off. And I was like, okay, they're going to come back, right? They're going to come back, right? And they didn't. And I was like, oh, okay, well, it's just Christian doing Christian things.
Yep.
And but yeah, we were able to salvage it. And props to Jonathan for catching me on that last run. I did the strategy that I wanted to. Nothing came out, and I played it exactly the way I wanted to. And he just beat me and was clean about it. So it was a very fun race.
It definitely looked like it was a bunch of fun out there. Typical output fashion, no cautions, slightly longer race this season, and two-stop strategy. So what was it like just trying to figure out the strategy for when you wanted to make your two stops?
Yeah, so I am very glad that it wasn't a fuel mileage race, and so we knew right out of the gate, like, it's going to be a two-stopper. And I just at first wanted to get to the stage and did that, and then I was thinking about splitting the runs evenly, and I noticed that other people weren't doing that, so I was like, okay, we're going to run a little bit longer. But with typical Indy, I wanted that clean air, and I did not want to get undercut from the guys behind me. So Christian was so far out in front, I wasn't really racing him. He was just running practice laps in front of us. So I was like, okay, if I don't get undercut and I keep the clean air, I should be able to keep them behind me, because I felt like we all had pretty similar pace. And so that's what I did the first time. And Jonathan pit with me, and Joe didn't. And then you saw what that difference was, because Jonathan was with me that whole second run, and Joe had kind of fallen back. And so then after the second run, it was kind of the same deal. I split it on the tires, but my main thing was just do not let Jonathan undercut me and get the clean air in front, because I didn't think I'd have the speed to pass him. And when he didn't pit with me, I was really excited, because I was like, okay, I'm going to get the advantage far enough to break the draft, and he just won't be able to catch me. And I don't know if I underdrove that last run. I kept getting tighter as the race went on. And so I don't know if I was underdriving it to make it tighter, or if the track was just changing or what, but I saw him coming, and I'm like, okay, we're still fine. Catching and passing are two different things. And then when I saw what he had off of 2 and 4, it was like, okay, now we've got a fight on our hands. And so tried to pinch him a couple times and hope that he would kind of get loose and get the right rear hot and take it a couple laps to recover. And I think I did that once when we made contact. He kind of backed out, and it took him a couple laps. But then after that, there was nothing for him. So I played the strategy the best I could, and it just wasn't good enough. But we'll take the final podium spot for sure.
All right, now let's look forward to next week. Going to be going for 150 laps of the Iowa Speedway. So what's the feeling like for you as we hit Iowa with these Gen 4 cars?
Iowa's one of those weird things. Like, I don't love the track, but I usually run well there. Got several wins there, some in the Gen 4. And so, it should be interesting, especially going from, a 2.5 mile track here to something really, really small. So, definitely going to have to be driving it a little bit differently. But I have faith that we'll all keep it clean and green. So, looking forward to it.
All right, Ken, before we let you go here tonight, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, as always, shout out to my wife Casey, my kids Logan, Jet, and Easton. Everybody in the league here at Output, all the drivers, all the admins, everybody does a fantastic job, and it's so much fun to race with these guys every week. Team Conti for their support, become a better sim racer, and you up in the booth.
And I want to give a shout out to your t-shirt tonight. Obviously, it was a V-neck, so you only checked a little bit.
Yep.
All right. Well, thanks for coming out, Ken. Congratulations on P3, and we look forward to seeing what we can do throughout the rest of the season.
All right. Appreciate it.
All right, guys. That was Ken Campbell, our third place getter here tonight. Coming up next, we're going to have our Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award winner, and tonight's Hard Charger is also our second place getter. And tonight's second place was the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. Jonathan, great strategy at the end of the race there to get you just those little bit of fresher tires so you can catch up and pass the 15 of Ken Campbell.
Yeah, that I was talking to Ken after. That wasn't the plan really. I was gonna pit same lap as he did, but I banked on Christian pitting the next lap so I could at least get that lap lead bonus. But when he didn't, I figured, all right, the next lap, if I don't see that relative, shrink, then I'm pitting. So I knew, I was giving up time to Ken just staying out those extra few laps, but I somehow reeled him back in. I think he said he burned up the right front a bit more, and I think that's what helped to my advantage because I felt I was getting a little bit freer towards the end of that race. So it, of course, it paid off. I was able to eventually get around him and sneak up to second, which I don't know if I would have finished second if Josh and Logan didn't have their issues, but I mean, we'll take it for the first race of the season.
Now, longer races this season, a little bit of extra strategy with two stops on these bigger tracks. What was it like just trying to figure out your strategy for when you wanted to make those two stops?
Well, I think it was more noticeable around, especially the first stop, especially after the stage, because I felt like more people pushed it, uh, knowing that we were having to have a two-stop race. So um, once everybody got spread out for that stage finish, and the tires are pretty much where they were at. Um, and I think to me, I was like, okay, it's I don't you don't want to be the first one pitting, but you also don't want to be the last. So I think I timed it perfectly, pitting with Ken that first stop. Um, and me and him were able to break away from Joe and pretty much everybody else. So that set us up for pretty much the run to the finish with Ken and anybody else who was around us at the time. But I mean, yeah, I mean longer races. I mean, it should probably more a factor of especially on these big tracks too.
All right, now let's look forward to next week. We're going to be doing 150 laps of the Iowa Speedway. So, what's the feeling like for you as we take these Gen 4 cars out to Iowa to tackle it for 150 laps?
I think, I mean, if we get another race like this tonight where it's just green, most, if not all, the race, and I think the strategy would be just saving the tires so you can one stop it. But I think if we get a couple of cautions sprinkled in, then I think you'll see the strategy all over the place because um, if you're able to make them last a bit and you get a caution going your way, then it's free track position when the guys ahead of you burn their stuff up and they need to take another set of tires. So, um, I mean, it'll be interesting. I think we're running the new version, so it'll be interesting how the lines are with that track. Whereas the older version, we were multi-groove essentially from the apron to the wall.
All right, now before we let you go here tonight, Jonathan, anyone you want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, of course, thank everybody over there at Triad, our sponsor, St. Analyzer, Susan Media, everybody over there. Of course, welcome or thank you everybody here at Output. Thank you. Welcome back. It's everybody. We're in for another fun season with these cars, and of course, can't forget the girlfriend. She kicked my ass if I don't thank her. Um, and give her a shout out to her mom who she had surgery today and it went well. So
Good to hear.
uh, yeah, everything going well, and yeah, we'll look forward to next week. And congrats, Christian. I mean, no doubt he was going to be the winner. We'll see if he keep winning the rest of the season. I think we got a lot of fast people now.
Oh, absolutely. But thank you very much for coming out, Jonathan. Congratulations on coming home P2 here tonight. We look forward to seeing what we can do next week in Iowa.
Thank you, Corey.
All right, guys, that was our second place getter and our Autism Awareness Hard Charger Award winner, the 88 of Jonathan Hernandez. He went P8 to P2. Coming up next, our race winner and the most dominating driver to ever grace us here in the Output Racing League. He could almost drive these things in his sleep. It is, of course, the 17 of Christian Budd. Christian, you haven't been having the greatest of luck over in Winstell, but over here, you just absolutely dominated this race, leading every single lap that you were out in front for.
Yeah, that is how that works. It was a good race. Obviously green the whole time, so that was fun. Fun just to be able to kind of just do laps and drive, and had kind of a good challenge with Josh there at the beginning. Unfortunately, he got the wall and kind of ended his day, so didn't really get to see what that would have ultimately turned into. Um, and there was definitely some other drivers in the field, I think, who were putting up some good lap times. So I think Logan had to start penalty in the back and was up to fourth at one point before he had his disconnect. So again, that would have been interesting to see if he could have got to second or how close he could have got. And it's really hard to tell, speed wise for me because I wasn't in the draft, how much that was affecting things. Um, so clean air was good, but at the same time, the draft is worth a lot on those straightaways. So it would have been hard to say how that exactly all would have played out if we'd all kind of been together. But overall, it was really fun.
So to put it into perspective, I think it's about 0.12 of a second difference. So, because that was the fast lap Joshua Banks had in the early laps before he hit the wall, compared to your fast lap, which you also got in the early laps as well. So 0.12.
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely worth something. It's a little hard to say again because, like at the beginning, I kind of said something I didn't kind of came out wrong, but I wasn't trying to push too hard at the beginning because I knew with the draft the way it was that I wasn't going to be able to ever break away from him as close as he was running to me. You know, if something had happened where I had like a second, you know, gap to him, I might have tried to push real hard and see if I could have broken it. But when somebody's sitting there point 0.3 behind you, there's just no way in this car that you're gonna break that. So I was just trying to take it easy on my tires. I did notice like that first run, I was probably the loosest I was all day, and the tire wear said that, and I kind of wonder if that didn't play into the fact that he was behind me, for that beginning 8 laps or whatever. Um, so the track tightened up too as we went, so maybe that was just part of it. But and I got some stuff to learn with this car. I mean, I feel like the old car I really liked, and I was kind of do exactly what I wanted to do and how to drive it. And this one, it's a little different, and I'm not super confident in how I'm saving tires and how I'm driving the car. So we'll kind of see, as I get some more seat time, if that stuff kind of evens out. And obviously, Indy's just such an odd track anyway. It's just really big corners, a lot of momentum you got to keep. When we do Iowa, that'll be definitely different with a little more throttle control and wheel spin up off the corners and things like that.
Now let's talk about the strategy real quick of this race. We've got longer races than what we previously had. So what was the thought for you trying to figure out when you wanted to make your two stops?
Well, fortunately, being in the lead and having like a bigger lead like that, I didn't have to worry that much about it. Kind of just waited till the guys behind me pit and then would pit. If they had all been right there, then pitting early and short pitting, you could jump somebody and it may have worked a little better. But the way it was, they would short pit and they would close the gap a little bit, but they didn't get in draft range. They really, and then they had that, lap or two disadvantage on tires. So it was kind of easy for me just to say, okay, I'm just gonna, you know, kind of pit when they do. The only thing that changed, I guess, a little bit at the end when Ken pit fairly significantly earlier than everybody else, and I wasn't exactly sure how long I should wait. I didn't know how much time it would catch me. I probably could have waited a little longer to pit, but the main thing was, I was just worried about that late caution, because if you pit early and then you had a caution with 5 to go, tires meant a lot. How many people would pit? Would you get two tires? Would and have to try and battle through? Like all that stuff is always can change the outcome of the end of the race. So that was my only concern, I'd say, during the whole thing.
All right, now let's look forward to next week at Iowa. Jonathan mentioned that he's pretty sure we're running the newer version of Iowa. So, what's the feeling like for you as we head into Iowa with these cars?
Yeah, I have no idea. I've never driven it. So kind of have to figure out the line and how that all is going to play out. Um, I will say today the setup was actually not bad. It's tight on entry, but that just seems to be a product of this car. It seemed to be most of the time you're tight on entry, but it was decently loose and rotating. And I was wearing the rear tires out more than the front, so that was fun. Um, Hopefully we'll see something similar with Iowa. Hopefully we have a set that's fun to drive. I don't, I don't have a lot of expectation because I really don't know how it's going to drive. If it's going to be multi-groove or what we'll see. I'm glad we're not doing the old one because the old one to me is just a top running fest and I hate that. So hopefully the bottom works. That would be nice. So we'll see.
All right, now before we let you go here tonight, Christian, anyone want to give a quick shout out to?
Yeah, just everybody here at Output who puts this on. The league's a lot of fun. If anybody's watching or wondering, hey, should I get involved in that? I mean, it's always been a good group of guys. That's why I always come back, um, except when they race the next gen, because, I'm not going to do that to myself. But, other than that, it's always fun. Everybody's real nice. And obviously, we've got a ton of green flag racing tonight, which makes this a lot of fun. So thanks to them. And thanks to you for broadcasting.
All right, Christian, thank you very much for coming out. Congratulations on coming home P1, and we look forward to seeing what you can do next week when we go to Iowa. Almost said next season. Jesus.
I appreciate it.
All right, guys, that was tonight's winner and the most dominant presence to ever grace us here in the Output Racing League, the Cog, Christian Budd. And he doesn't like it when I call him the Cog, but hey, we'll just go with it. But that is going to be all for us here tonight. Thank you all so much for coming out and joining us here in Season 2, 2025. And until next week when we go to Iowa, I have been your commentator, the Aussie Sim commentator. We'll see you guys in the middle of a cornfield.